Welcome, everyone, to the testing room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, aka the Godfather.
I'm Christian, aka Pseudo45.
I'm Preston, aka Funkadelic Jedi.
Yeah, and we are we're two here and one remote, which is funny to say because I know we're always remote, but Christian is out on a work trip, but you still don't have your camera on. Is your internet that bad?
Dude, it's an IT conference with a bunch of people that have multiple things hooked up to this hotel was not prepared.
Buckling. The hotel's probably buckling under the pressure of all these people.
I tested video last night. And I was like, all right, let's see. And it was so choppy and stuttery, and I was like, there's no reason. Let's not even.
If you go to like Wi-Fi or AirPlay or something, like how many people's networks do you just like pick up at an IT conference? Oh,
dude, so much. And not only that, but now like because everybody brings hotspots with them, thinking like, oh, this will help my cause, and then you realize that like that many hotspots overlaying the same signal on top of each other just makes everybody else's experience shittier, and I don't know. It's whatever. The problem is so down on the conference floor, they have a completely separate Wi-Fi that's like a separate password and all this other stuff. So when you're down there, it's fine, but by the time you get up to the rooms, especially like where I think I pulled out the Steam Deck last night because I was messing around with some stuff that we'll get to when we talk to our weeks, obviously, but. Alex, you know this. You have Steam Deck. Like sometimes a lot of your games will do like the Steam cache, like the cache updates, where it just basically runs through the files, make sure everything's good, and blows through. And that's usually it's a very quick process. That probably took my 2 hours to get through all of it.
Oh no!
And it was only because a couple of those updates were like 1 gig or 2 gig, and you're even saying to yourself now, 1 gig and 2 gig is not that much. Oh boy, it was. It was brutal.
Took a hot minute.
Preston and I have already discussed some funny images we may or may not put where my screen is. So
I got a great idea. Hey Alex. You got some of those photos from the bachelor party of someone in a tutu and a crown?
Oh, yeah, I actually probably do.
All right.
No.
Send that one to me.
I am putting a veto on that because I have access to this YouTube channel and I will delete the video.
Yeah, I do. Those are favorited in my phone somewhere too.
I bet they are.
If we don't want to do that because Christian might get saucy, I have some really good wedding photos of him with just him without his significant other, right?
Probably do that because Christian's not a fun person.
Whatever. I had a way better idea than that, Preston.
I think the tutu's a great idea.
I'm sure you do.
What was your idea?
Just a text box that says Alex skips cutscenes.
That's not better than you from your bachelor party.
Whatever, it was funny. You guys are just fucking haters.
Oh yeah, we're the haters. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys are just lame.
Shut up. It's a good idea, guys. Leave me alone.
Well, do you want it then? Do you want to talk about your week? Do you want to go first?
I can do that. So, as is customary, we will talk about because Alex and I are very specific about our flight and flights and our habits during flights. Let's
just so you know, I will have a flight coming up soon from Alabama, so I can't wait to share whatever that's gonna be.
And the torch will be passed to you because it's this bit has been going on for so long, even before this podcast started, and it will continue long after it's done. So, so my main, I'll paint the scene. This was supposed to be a trip where it was the entire team that was supposed to go. So I had a coworker that was going to go with me, and the company was so adamant that we arrive here and leave here at the same times that I had to match whatever flights were coming out because that person was going to be flying from O'Hare, and I was going to obviously be flying from Milwaukee. And so
But who cares?
I agree. Because we were not in the same room, so why does it matter? And we both had corporate cards, so it doesn't matter. So like, why are we? It doesn't. It's so stupid. But that put me at getting to the airport at a gentleman's 4 a.m.
I've had so many of those over the years.
Yeah, dude. So you just in there, and you're just like, why? This is hell. There's no reason that anybody should have to do this ever. But okay. So your first thought is, all right, well, let me just like get a nice little light brekkie with a drink, and let's just try to make the most of this.
Do you have a go-to whenever you do that? I always get the same breakfast when I have early flights.
So now, like, I have a different one, but before it was, let me just get like a little bacon, egg, and cheese, or sausage, egg, and cheese thing from like Starbucks, and then just like an orange juice. Now, because my eyes have been opened to the way of the refresher, I get the strawberry acai lemonade refresher because it's incredible. So that's what usually I'll get. So if it's that, I'll get that lemonade and a little breakfast sandwich, and then I'm good to go. And so I go to do it, and I walk over, and I can hear some like noise off in the distance, but I'm like, oh, who knows, whatever that is, you know. And it's just like the line is like 50 fucking people, all waiting, and I was like, no,
Ew.
I'm not doing that. And you might be thinking to yourself, so did you just not eat anything? Yes. I looked at that line and I said, I'd rather have nothing. And so then I went, sat in front of the gate. And so I was flying American this time. And for those who don't know, American has assigned seats. So it doesn't fucking matter what time you run over to the door or try to race to people. Because, no, I am adamant in this belief. It's an assigned seat. I'm going to go where I'm going to go. You being if we're both in group 5 and your seat is in aisle 20, it does not matter that you've ran in front of me because we're still going to the same places regardless. It's not like fucking Southwest where it's the Hunger Games for fucking seats before you get in there.
I agree. I agree with you on this, and I used to do this thing when I was executive platinum on American, which is Group 2. So the Group 1 is first class. People would pay for it, and Group 2 is me. So I used to do this thing where I would purposely like just chill because I know like I have a seat and I know my boarding number, and I would wait till everybody rushes up, and then I would just like pass through everybody and just be like, excuse me, and just be like, just out loud to yourself, be like, you all have a group number. What is so difficult, right? As I'm just like pushing through in my group too.
Peons, get out of my way.
But it's true. Like you have a group. Chill out.
Yeah, and again, even in your own group, like if they go group 4, pushing to the front of group 4 gets you nothing. You're still going to the same seat you were assigned, you fucking idiot. So, but we get on the plane, and I'm already like, because it's an early morning flight. So, Alex, you know, what is the most irritating thing somebody can do is opening those goddamn windows and not letting it be fucking dark in the plane because some fucking idiot's like, I've never seen clouds before, and like need to open up the stupid ass window that early. And so I'm like preparing myself just immediately. I'm like, I know someone's going to do it. And I'm going to be like, hey, shut the window. And like, it's going to be a thing. To my surprise, ladies and gentlemen, I had the most courteous and comfy flight of my life.
Nice.
Everybody shut up. Nobody talked. There was families that got on that plane that were talking beforehand. Like I was like, oh boy, these are going to be the fucking talkers that don't show up the whole flight. When I say everybody you could have heard a pin drop in that plane. Everybody just knew, and we're like, we're all going to a destination, It's early as fuck in the morning. Let's all just be quiet. Let some people sleep. Let other people watch their movies. But let's just everybody be quiet and do their thing.
To be fair, you did fly out first thing on a Monday, which is typically when the businessmen travel.
Which is fair.
Business
I
people
totally
travel.
agree.
So a lot of people do usually know, like on the very first flight in the morning.
Yeah, which is totally fair. So
And then you got to Texas.
yeah, so that is really where the is DFW fucking striking again, because that airport is laid out so stupidly that when you land, it took us probably every bit of 45 minutes to get to our gate because there's
the
like
SkyTrain? Did you ride the SkyTrain?
No, because of the fucking roadway that is their tarmacs, where it goes over a highway. Like planes drive over a highway, and they're just like, do like they're driving like their morning commute to work. So they're just like fucking sitting there driving, and then they're like, "Oh, sorry guys, there's a little bit." The pilot literally gets on the thing and goes, "Hey everybody, little bit of a traffic jam up ahead." And so we're waiting for the traffic to clear up before we get to our gate. Sir, this is not a morning commute. This is you going to a gate that was already predetermined before we landed. What are we doing?
Yeah, and so O'Hare will actually do the same thing. They also go over a roadway. If you ever fly from Milwaukee to O'Hare, your like boarding process will be 30 minutes, but your flight will be like 15 minutes, like literally.
Yes.
It's like big. And they bring you on the backside, and you also drive over the road. But the problem is like, it's not that you have to go over a road or anything like that. It's just the fact that it's so far away, and your speed limit on those tarmacs are like 10 miles an hour.
Yes.
And you cannot go faster. So you're just like creeping along for what's probably only like a mile and a half, but feels like 10.
Yes.
It's the worst.
Yeah. So, but we get off the plane, and besides being greeted with just god-awful heat, in general, it was a good experience. Now, however, though, God did not see fit to remove the magnifying glass from that he's using to burn me just yet, because I just got my exit flight is me leaving at 9 p.m. to put me home just around midnight, which is just a great time when you have to, wake up the next day at like 6 a.m. to keep working. But the problem is that I just got a notice from American that my flight is now currently under a severe weather watch. So there is a non-zero chance that my flight is either going to get delayed or moved or whatever, and I will have to find a new flight to get home. And that's not to mention the at least minimum, as required by state law, 6 times my flight will be redirected to a different gate, because that's just what Dallas does with their flights. But yeah,
I also love in Dallas, you're in an A terminal, and they're like, "Hey, we're moving your gate to like B17, like for novices to DFW." You go, "Oh, whatever. I guess I'll head over to B." You're like, "Oh, A B, right?" No, they do like A B C D, like opposite. So
yeah, it's like
closest thing to
diagonals
A
almost,
is
like it's
C.
across.
Yeah, and B is on the opposite side. You're just like, why? Why would you?
So
you're
you
an
have
oval.
to take,
Why would you not number straight around?
You basically have to take these little subway cars that will take you to the other side of the fucking world as far as that airport is concerned, just to get off, go down a bunch of goddamn stairs, and you have people that are racing you to this gate like it fucking matters, which is the first problem. Or then you get there, you sit down, and you're just looking at it, and you're like, it says that my flight's coming out of here, but there's no, or that I'm going to leave from this gate. But there's no estimated time, there's no anything on here, they haven't updated the details. And when you go and ask the people at the flight desk, they go, it's just going to take a second to update. And you just look at them and go,
You're a liar. You're
But
lying.
we both know that it doesn't take that long to update details, right? Like, it just happens. Like, so if you had the details, they'd be updated, right? Like, no, it just takes, sometimes it takes a little bit. It doesn't, though, does it? Like, I think we all know that it doesn't, and you're just lying because you know that this is about to get switched. But you know if you say it right now, people are going to riot. So you are just waiting. Here's the thing. No one should yell at service workers. Absolutely not. It's not their fault. They didn't create this system. They're not doing it. However, these people who work this front desk should not be shocked when someone does get upset with them. Like, there is a time, like, when you see someone's face who's like, I can't believe you're yelling at me right now. And it's like, can't you, though? Like, they've been redirected 6 times, and this flight, particularly for them, might have been delayed and rescheduled 3 or 4 other fucking times. Like, can't you understand why they're a little mad? Like, I think I could.
Honestly,
what
though,
I would
like,
do...
I think they lie because they just know any given day some crazy person is going to throw hands. And they're just like, I just don't want to deal with this right now. Like, I
Which
don't
is
want to
fair.
start dodging punches because of some
Which
idiot
is why,
who's just angry.
and that is totally true, and that is why I still maintain that all airlines should have been allowed to go bankrupt during COVID, because all of them are scum of the earth fucking companies that if any other industry operated the way airlines do, they would have been shut down. No one would go to them. No one. If you went to a restaurant where the seats were always small and uncomfortable, the service was absolute shit, and on top of that, every time you got, it was just, the food that you got was just varying degrees of either, like, uncooked or cold or whatever, but they'd be like, where else are you gonna go to eat? Brr, 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 brr. And everybody would be like, I'm not going to that restaurant. It can
I'm
just
sorry,
fail.
sir. Your lobster has been delayed to next week. You'll need to come back.
Yeah.
But
But no, we're not getting a refund.
across the street to go get your burger.
We're not getting you a refund, but we will give you store credit to buy a lobster the next time you come in here, if it's available.
But the store credit is only going to be $15 to cover what's $40 normally, and we know it.
Yeah,
but
fuck.
sorry, we're going to give you $15 to do it. That's my favorite when they like.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we're gonna give you a meal voucher, and the meal voucher is $20. You're like, what can I buy in this airport for under $20? Like you tell me seriously, what can I buy here under 20? Because the answer is nothing. Nothing.
I know. Yeah, walk me around. Show me. Yeah. It's unbelievable. But yeah, so with all of that being said, I have played some games recently. And besides the game that we're here to talk about today,
We got 2 weeks worth of games to talk about.
yeah, so what did you say, Alex?
Did you beat any games?
I did. So I think I talked about this, or I did talk about the fact that I beat Baldur's Gate. So I beat Final Fantasy Crisis Core. Reunion, the re-release that they did of Crisis Core. Boy, that is just that PSP game. They didn't do shit.
Looks prettier.
Yes, I'm being a little reductive, but visually it does look a lot better. But man, on the gameplay side, and this is coming from somebody who at the time, like, I was a big fan of Crisis Core. Like, I was like, hell yeah, Crisis Core is cool as hell on the PSP. That game design should have died with that PSP version, and they should have touched it up or redone something like it should have gotten the amount of love that Final Fantasy Remake got. And by love I mean like work, right? Like not like, but it should have gotten the same amount of work that game, because it definitely needed it. It is. So for those who don't know, Crisis Core is basically a full explanation of Zack, who is basically what you find out through. I mean, this is not spoilers. This game, Final Fantasy VII, is like 35 years old now at this point, I think, if not older.
We're fine.
But so it is in that game. There's a point where you realize that Cloud's memories, he had supplemented somebody else's memories throughout with his own to deal with the trauma of something that happened in the game, and blah 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 blah. That person is Zack Fair. So this game is Zack's journey, basically from the moment he joined Soldier to, you know, his untimely demise protecting Cloud, essentially. And wouldn't you know it, the old boy, Sephiroth is in here, and he is doing his thing, just like he did in the original Crisis Core. But the biggest... So, like, it's hard, because, like, I still actually do enjoy the overall story of Crisis Core. Like, if I was like, do I think Crisis Core has a place in the overall Final Fantasy VII, like, mythos, I would be like, yes, absolutely. But fuck, dude, some of the writing in this game and some of the writing in these cutscenes is like, I don't know if it was like a translation issue at the time or what was happening, but it is brutal.
Is it like Strangers in Paradise bad, to where it's like super broy cheesy, or is it just like poor, bad writing altogether?
It's not broy cheesy, but it is the same level of quality of Stranger of Paradise, if that makes sense, right?
Fair
like,
enough, yeah.
like something will be happening, and here's an example. When there's a moment where Zack falls through the roof of Aerith's church. So Zack, that hole that Aerith has in her church where the sunbeams like hit the flowers and stuff. So Zack falls like through that hole and lands in her bed of flowers, and like Aerith wakes him up, and that's when they become like, you know, little like, oh, we're flirting and this is fun and blah blah blah. In that moment, there's like a Zack is on his ass, like he's like knocked out on his back, and Aerith leans over him and goes, hello, like twice, and Zack's like, what's going on? And then she like it's like, you fell through the thing, blah blah blah, and he like jumps up, puts his thumb out, and he's like, thanks for saving me. And you're like, what is that exchange? Are these two humans talking? Because I don't know. I don't think so. Like, this seems like like a RPG Maker level of dialogue going through here. Like, this is like a fan fiction at some points. It's really weird. So it's that writing that is like, you're like, oof, this is bad. But the overall story that happens in the FMV cutscenes, right, is still awesome. Like, it is still like the scene at the end. Spoiler alert: Zack dies, obviously, protecting Cloud. That scene with Zack beating the shit out of all of these Shinra soldiers, and like Shinra sending the goddamn army after him, and he's just like, fuck you, nobody can. I'm hitting shit, and I'm blowing up helicopters. I'm doing all sorts of wild shit, like because so there's a point in which, and this obviously is a spoiler for Final Fantasy VII as well, but so you find out Cloud he never made it to Soldier in the first place. The only reason that Cloud at the beginning of Final Fantasy VII has Soldier powers is because halfway through the game, Hojo realizes that in a moment of like adrenaline to protect Tifa, Cloud ends up beating the shit out of Sephiroth. Sephiroth like skewers him with the fucking sword, and Cloud picks him up while the blade is still in his stomach and like throws him off the edge, and the sword like comes, and Sephiroth is already, in fairness, Sephiroth is already like kind of, the shit got knocked out of him when him and Zack were fighting. So he's a little bit weaker in that time and blah, blah, blah. But Cloud, either way, gets the best of him and because he stabs him with the Buster Sword while he isn't looking. And so he's like weak from the fight with Zack. He's weak from the stab. And so then Cloud has the ability to like sort of be like get like mom strength and like pick him up and throw him off the side. And as he's doing that, Hojo is like, well, that's weird that he was able to do that. So he's at least worth me pumping full of Mako to see like what happens to him as an experiment. And so but he does it to Zack too. So Zack becomes like ultra supercharged because his body was already charged with Mako to be a soldier first class anyway. But then they pumped him so full much more that he comes out of it being like, you know, I'm really ready to put the business on somebody. And Cloud is now basically at the level like what a soldier was, except when he comes out of it, he has Mako sickness, which is like, hey, your body couldn't handle it, so you're just a vegetable. But as time is going on, you know, and with Zack being there and all this other stuff, Cloud ends up recovering, and he ends up recovering at the moment of Zack's death. So when Zack kills the last Shinra soldier, but his body is just like riddled full of bullets and everything like that, Cloud comes over, and Zack basically is like, hands him the Buster Sword, and is like, you have to live for me, like, be my legacy, which is something that his mentor said to him in the course of the game. And that's really as far as I'll go into the whole story. I mean, I gave most of it away, but there's lots of stuff that happens in there. And well, I gave the ending away, I should say. But yeah, so that scene still is fucking awesome. Like Cloud with a bunch of blood on his face, like screaming at the sky because the one person that he was really tight with, like, is dead in front of him and he couldn't do anything about it. And Cloud at that point was like halfway aware that he knew he was a vegetable. Like, he couldn't move, but he wanted to, and he was trying. Like, there's a part where when Zack's like, just wait right behind this rock, I'm like, I'll be right back after I get rid of these guys. And Cloud has barely moved up into this point, but right when Zack goes to run away, Cloud like reaches out for him, and so it's like the first sign that Cloud is actually getting better. And had Zack turned around and seen that, he probably could have just avoided the whole fight and like ran, and they could have been okay. But this leads me to my point, and where I'm at now with the whole Final Fantasy VII remake saga that's happening. Alex, I have a new prediction, and I'd like us to toss it on the board.
Okay.
I am of the opinion now that they will not kill Aerith in that scene, which we've all known for a while. But what you and I have talked about is, who are they going to kill? Mm-hmm. They're going to kill Cloud.
Really? And you think they're just going to let Zack take over, like it always should have been, sort of thing? Okay.
I think I think Zack he'll be a major part of it. But remember, at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, the stinger at the end of that, and spoilers for those who don't know, but the stinger at the end of that is that there are now, because of the events of Final Fantasy VII Remake, a second timeline has emerged where Zack survives that encounter with the Shinra soldiers, and with Cloud on his back is going to Midgard to see Aerith. So here's the thing. In the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer, a whole lot of Zack is in that trailer, running around with Cloud sick on his back and all this other stuff. But we already know that even before Zack got shot up, Cloud was already starting to come to when he reaches out to try to stop him from leaving, right? So we know that Cloud was going to get better eventually. We just don't know how long it would have taken him or whatever, right? So what is an easy way to get an emotional response from the people who are playing this game than by Cloud being the one who gets skewered, but then when the two timelines converge, now you have Cloud, who is basically still a soldier candidate because he's probably going to be better by the end of that game. And you have Zack, who now, after being supercharged with all the Mako energy that Hojo pumped into him on top of his already Mako charged body, he's probably on par, if not just a little bit. He's probably around the area of a Sephiroth, right? like that level of soldier.
Sure.
Well, once the timelines converge, it's really fucking easy to deal with having Cloud be the one who gets skewered, because Cloud will get replaced with that Cloud, right? Like, he'll just go over to that new timeline, and then maybe there'll be a fucking thing where Zack, like, they leave Cloud in that other timeline because he's like, Zack is like, I can stay in this timeline and you can stay in this one and we'll protect them together. And then he goes like, believe it, and like puts his little thumbs up like a fucking stupid anime himbo that he is. And I think I'm right. I really do. I think I've got a solid case.
You might also be spot on.
Right, dude? Why
wouldn't they just kill Zack?
Because what is that? And I thought about that too, but what does that solve, right? Like, when you bring Zack back and you show a timeline where Zack survived and he's taking care of Cloud, what does having two timelines where Zack is dead in both of them do for people?
You also need the shock value of losing someone,
the main character.
But you're not gonna get the Aerith, and we know that Zack has died before, right? So it's not an emotional hit.
And if they kill Tifa,
we've talked about the Aerith thing in the past. We said, will it even hit the same, right? So
right, so they're not going to do Aerith again because that would be stupid, right? Like, you're not going to do Aerith again because it'd be like, why did you spend all this time remaking this game just to have Aerith get skewered again? It doesn't make any sense. And on the flip side of that, if you just kill Zack again, remember that at the end of Final Fantasy Remake, most people's reaction to seeing Zack alive was, who the fuck is that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when it comes to extended universe Final Fantasy stuff, most people do not care. It was like the diehard fans who went and played Crisis Core and Dirge of Cerberus and all that other shit. But for the most part, people just knew Zack as like, oh, I remember that flashback sequence. I kind of forgot about that guy, but, you know, whatever. But I swear to God, dude, I've been waiting for this podcast to tell you this live, Alice, because I literally have been sitting here, like, hyping myself up. Like, when I think about this, I'm like, bro, I'm cooking right now. Like, I have got a fucking idea, and I think I'm right.
You do, and it hits so many of the things, like we just said, it hits... It's the quote-unquote shock. It doesn't kill off a major character, right? It's going to subvert expectations of people that want to see the Aerith thing again. But I think it goes beyond that, and it allows them to have two Clouds, right? Like, as you said, keep one, like, protecting both universes. It brings the friendly thing in. That's really, really good. And the question will be, if you do predict this, does it make the story better, and that's the way they should have done it, or does it prove that they went the easy route because you were able... I mean, like, I couldn't have
So here's the thing.
Right? But, like,
does
it make it almost like, oh, you know, it wasn't as shocking because, like, everybody saw this coming, or you saw this coming, I guess. I don't know.
That's what I was going to get to. I don't know if this is a commonly held theory. I haven't looked it up because I don't want to, like, ruin it for myself. But if there should be some, because we know when this episode is recorded, but it's like, I'm going to look up, if it does happen, I'm going to look up when the first person who said, like, because if I was the first person to put this thought together, I'm going to be kind of hyped, but, which I don't think I am.
We do a little clip that's a clip for YouTube, and then we go, Christian predicts the future, and then we say the day the game comes out or something like that.
I think it's a little bit of column A, column B, though. On the one hand, I will be kind of hyped that I was right, and I'll be like, yeah. On the other side, I do agree that I think it would make it a little cheaper. Or it's the easy way out, because if you kill Cloud in this universe and not Aerith, but then you have the other Cloud, like, you know, it does sort of make sense. And it is like the easy choice there, because remember that whole sequence was just like, we need some emotional shock from the audience, right? Who's like playing the game, right? So like when Aerith died, it was like a big thing for everybody. Like everybody was like, and in fairness, especially back then, you did not see that coming. Like Aerith just gets down to pray and like does her thing, and that fucking sword comes out of nowhere and skewers her, and it's like she like slumps too. Like it is like she gets rocked, and you're like, whoa, like that is a choice. Like I did not see that coming at all, right? So I do think the only other character that you can pick that would have that level of emotional buy-in would be Cloud. I mean, maybe, you know, I'm sure Tifa would garner a similar response, but with story implications,
would lose their mind, and
they would lose their mind, but for the wrong like. The reason that would be stupid is because outside of being a cool martial arts fighter, Tifa offers nothing to that world. Like, she obviously is like
she is the most sexualized character in that game.
So. But you know what I'm talking about. Like as far as like the ability to save the world, it's like
yes,
she just punches people real good. Which don't get me wrong, I'm down for punching people.
You need a good puncher, a good people puncher.
You need somebody who's able to give somebody that 2-piece combo, right? Like I get it. Like I'm not fucking discounting that at all. All I'm saying is that if she gets dead, you're just like, why were you even down there in the first? Like, what are you doing? Like, what you don't have any magic abilities to pray. You don't have any like. What do you like? That doesn't. You shouldn't have been down there, right? So yeah, we'll see that. That's just my guess. That's what I hope. So
that's a really good guess, because we've talked about it in the past. Like I don't see anything else making sense. I don't see how it could go any other way. Yeah, you can't do the old thing, and having the dual timeline, somebody alive in both, just makes a lot of sense the minute they introduced this multiverse.
Exactly. And you'll have Zack protecting the one, you'll have Cloud protecting the other, and they'll be like, yeah, we're fucking bros, and it'll be this whole, like, because Zack is just a goofy fucking dork like that. I'm sure it'll be exactly how it's going to go. That being said, if this game at the end sort of lets you choose protagonists to, like, maybe in the third title or whatever, I'm playing as Zack the whole time, because Zack is such a... He's just like better Cloud. Like I don't know. I like Zack better than Cloud, but that who knows? That could be like a hot take.
I still have a dark horse prediction of something different, which was they were talking about the other day. Said, don't worry, the end of these 3 games, it's still going to end and lead into Advent Children. So like no matter what path we take to get there, like it's still going to lead right into that game or that movie. I still am having the dark horse prediction. We're going to see a redo of that movie. Or a sequel. One of the two.
I'm down for it.
Honestly, just a remake of that movie, like if you just did it with like current today CGI, I'd be kind of down. That being said, if you go back and watch Advent Children, it still kind of holds up.
Still holds
up.
I read that article the other day, and I was like, I actually think I have that somewhere, and I thought about going back to watch it.
I hate how many copies of Advent Children I have, and I'm not willing to go farther than that on this podcast. Anyway, so the other thing that I played that you guys saw, I think you might have missed the end of it, Alex, but I know Preston saw it, but as I finished the Separate Ways DLC for Resident Evil 4 remake. So, for those who don't know, Separate Ways was a PS2 exclusive. It was like a little thing that you unlocked after beating the main campaign of Resident Evil 4. It was basically just Ada's like POV during that time. In this one, they switch it up a little bit by taking some of the bosses that were supposed to be in Resident Evil 4 Remake, where like Leon normally fought certain things. Everybody was like, what happened to that? Or why'd they take that out? It's because Ada is the one who killed it. So Ada now has like more of a reason to... This DLC has more of a reason to exist story-wise, right? So I think on GG, if you go on there, I believe I gave it... let's see... I give it a 2.5 out of 5. If I was using like the full like 10 points, I think I would. I said something along the lines of like a 6.8 or something. Around there. Here's the thing. From a gameplay perspective, it fucking rules. It's so much fun to play. It's more Resident Evil 4 remake, so it's super fun.
With Batman grapple.
Yeah, the best part about it is that Ada has a grapple gun, and so she can rip shields off of like the shielded enemies. If you stun somebody and they need to get meleeed, no longer like with Leon do you have to run up and melee them, like get in range. Ada will just like a little prompt will show up and she'll just grapple over to them and then kick them in the fucking face, and you can get some really fun stuff there.
That troll fight scene is dope with that grapple gun.
Yeah, dude, like she has really cool like damage moves, like when you have like the cinematic like parts of the boss fights and stuff. So I really, from that perspective, I really like it. I am literally giving this that rating because Ada's voice actor is so fucking
You thought Megan
bad.
Fox in Mortal Kombat was bad. You have to deal with a whole game's worth of this one.
It is either
Really
worse or
bad.
just as bad as Peter Dinklage in Original Destiny. Like it is the most monotone, shitty delivery of just like, oh my god, please just let it end. Like she's and the problem is that she is sandwiched between some of the best vocal performances in games probably ever. Like Leon is incredible. The voice actor who does the shopkeeper in Resident Evil 4 also, not only is it like iconic, but it is also incredible in this remake. Like it's so goddamn good. And every single time Ada opens her mouth, you're just like, oh my god. And I'm sure this is not like any disrespect. I'm sure this actor tried, but like voice acting and acting are two completely different skill sets, and this like it's not easy. Like I know people, I'm sure that there's a lot of people who think like fucking voice acting must be an easy job. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, and this is like a case study on it, because good god. But yeah, so that is that. It's so bad that it just makes the experience around it not fun. Like, or worse, I should say, not fun, but it is worse. And then the only other game that I've played, I have not. Those are two that I beat. I have not beaten this next one, but I was dipping into my backlog, and I am playing a game called Paradise Killer.
Yeah.
So this is a game that I got as a gift for my birthday, I think, like a couple of years ago. So it's sort of like Danganronpa, like in that it's like a murder mystery game, and you're just sort of you're just like talking to people. There's no like combat or anything like that. You're just like walking around, finding stuff out in the world, and then talking to people, gathering evidence, and then I assume you will present said evidence and decide who done it, essentially. But I did not like Danganronpa purely because like fan service and things of that nature have an anti-effect on me, where like especially when I think the characters are probably far too young to be in a predicament like that. But Danganronpa is like full of it. Like the game is unbelievably horny, and so it just never was for me. I maybe made it like 2 hours into that first game, and I was like, "Fuck this! It's just irritating to me." However, that is not the case in Paradise Killer, and I have I've been actually really enjoying it. So it's like the first one of these kind of games that I've actually really gotten into. So I guess the main gist is like there's this place called Paradise Island that is like every so often it's like these people called the Syndicate who are basically like these like stewards of a world, like this island, and it's basically like it's all Paradise Island, and it'll have like a number, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and all the way up to 25 is the next one that's supposed to be happening, or I think it's the one you're on. And the Syndicate is the only thing that transfers from island to island, so something bad will inevitably happen on one of these islands, and basically they're just like, all right, it's all fucked, so kill everybody, blow up the island, and then we'll start again. We'll build one from scratch, we'll put new people on it, and, good to go. And this sort of thing happens over and over and over again because through various, like, hygiene, something always, like, in this particular case, it was like one of the citizens ended up communing with demons and, like, opening a portal to hell. And it was like this created this dead zone in the city.
As
where
ones want to do.
As one does, yeah. When you're just walking around, you find the Necronomicon, and boom, that's what happens. But somewhere in there, a bunch of these Syndicate members who are in charge of like basically creating the next, like trying to make the perfect place of existence, they're murdered. And you are brought out of exile as you used to be a Syndicate member who was like, you would investigate crimes and stuff like on these different islands, but then you got taken advantage of by some god and almost brought about the destruction of something. And so they were like, okay, like it wasn't necessarily your fault, but it's also kind of your fault. So like your punishment isn't death, but it's just exile. Like you're just going to be basically like in jail essentially, but you just can't do anything. You'll just like live in this little penthouse, and that's your problem. Like you won't get to talk to anybody and I think when the game starts, the investigator that you play as, she's been in exile for like 3,000 years or something like that. So that's what it kicks off on. Obviously, not only do I not know much more than that right now, but also it's still, I'm not going to spoil anything. But that's basically the gist. So if that sounds cool to you should totally check it out. So far, I really, really dig it. The story's super interesting. A lot of the characters are like very unique. Like every character is like extremely different from each other, and all of their art is incredible. The main thing about this game, though, that is like an absolute runaway 10 out of 10 as far as this particular part of the game is concerned, is goddamn this soundtrack. Preston, when you go to edit this, just do yourself a favor and look up Paradise Killer soundtrack.
Okay.
You specifically will love it immediately. Okay. It is a very jazzy funk soundtrack. Man.
Oh yeah.
Dude. I've been sitting here listening to like when I'm playing the game, and there's times where you're just like, I'm just gonna sit on the screen for a little bit and like just vibe for a second. Like it's very good. My main complaint with it so far that I wish, and who knows, I might feel differently about it when I finish, but the world is too big. Like, your only mode of transportation outside of fast travel, which takes a currency to unlock, is in-game currency. Not like, like you can buy, like you find, like you collect, right? Like it's like coins you pick up on the ground, basically. They're like called like blood crystals or something. But you like just walk, and sometimes like the walk is like it's far. Like you are walking. Like I have spent more time walking than I have like interrogating people, like getting from person to person, and I'm like, bro, let me. I mean, maybe this, people would have found this lazy. I say remove that whole fucking fast travel system, remove all this shit, and maybe have like some little sections where I can like look out and see what the island looks like from a 3D perspective, right? But otherwise, just give me a list and be like, do you want to travel to this district to talk to this person? And be like, yes, click, and then talk, and then be like, okay, go to this now and go to this part of the island. Like, just a list would have been much better, in my opinion, because I think some of the things that you have to find to like find out like certain bits of evidence or like little collectibles here and there like require like some platforming, like you have to jump and like like do your, but it's so clunky and like clearly not what the focus of that game was, that it just ends up getting in the way of the things where I'm just like, god damn it, like I just don't, I let me get this thing so I can move on and talk to people. I don't care about any of this. But that, again, very minor nitpick into a thing that I'm generally like, I think it's very good. So I'm trying to think. Oh, the last thing I have as update is I'm pissed that I'm missing it because it's live right now. But Final Fantasy 14 6.5, the final patch before Dawnbringer hit. I see Alex getting ready to update his client in the background, I think.
Don't you worry about it.
Yeah. But I'm pissed. I'm going to hopefully get to that on Thursday when I'm home.
I'm super busy this week, and a little I travel next week, so I might be able to play. I'm super busy this week, so don't worry about me playing without you. It's probably not going to happen.
That's fine. But so I was able to get some time in last week and this weekend, and I finished all the rewards on the PvP Battle Pass, so I'm very stoked about that. And I got some really dope fucking mounts from the event that were event specific, so also very, very happy about that. Yeah. Especially one of them being the really fucking annoying Tyrannosaurus mount that now I don't have to grind because I got it through this event, so hell yeah. And with that, I think that's it. I think I'm done.
Okay.
Is that event over? I didn't even look. I saw that thing coming.
Oh yeah, dude! It lasted. It was fucked up too.
You guys know from work, like I have not had the time to get on.
What's funny is that event like too? Like I was mad at first because like, god damn it, dude! Like I don't really have that much. Like I just I don't have the time. I have all these other stuff going on. Blah blah blah. And then I was like, this event ran from like the beginning of August all the way till now. And I was like, all right, they gave us a lot of time. Like let me just get on and fucking do this thing. Like, so I got the mounts that I wanted. I got the PvP rewards done. So I'm feeling
nice.
good.
You know me. My mounts. I'm going for a few particular ones right now through the trials, but I'm not big into mounts. My weird thing, and I think it happened organically just from what I started collecting, but it's just minions. Like I just got super lucky on minion drops, and I've gotten so many that like that's what I collect.
But you've already sold one of the like some of the crazier ones that you've gotten, and it just makes me wish that you would have kept them just for the flex. But
yeah, I agree. But I think our opinion will be different when we have a house.
True.
So. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices for the greater family, Christian.
Hey, look, I get it, man. I was trying in my spare time. I was trying to run treasure dungeons, but nobody was fucking running them. So,
dude,
because fucking barely anybody was on, and now I'm sure 6.5 will have a mad amount of people going on because of the new raid and everything. But
I did a treasure dungeon without you one day, like months ago. I just happened to be on. I saw somebody pop up, and I was like, you know what? Why not? And we all had like three treasure maps and all that, and we were out of there in 30 minutes. I don't think we got but like 2 portals the whole time. And I was like, come on, video game. Like,
Yoshi P giveth and Yoshi P taketh away.
All right, you just want to go with your week, Alex?
Sure. So I have played Baldur's Gate. I am just fully vested into that game and trying to get to the end of it. Because it's one of those things where it's like every time I think I'm getting close to the end, I just get another quest step of something, and I'm just like, okay, this is my life now. Side quests forever. I still enjoy it. Like I still love it. So I'm not hating on this game at all. Like I'm still fully vested and bought in, so I'm enjoying my time with it. But beyond that, I played the game we're going to talk about today, the one we finished, and I played actual Dungeons and Dragons with us last week, and that's all I've done. That's all I've played.
All right.
So quick and easy. Yeah.
I have a lot. So I'll try to be not too slow with it. I'll try to be quick. So I finished Jedi Outcast. I streamed for another 45 minutes. Guess what? Wasn't streaming, was recording. So I got to do the second to last mission all over again and get up to the final boss, which is the last mission. This is fine. It wasn't that long. But I'm sitting here like, fuck. I'm like, we got to do it. We're right here at the end. We got to start this shit all over again. I'm like, start stream. Hi. Look, I know you see my save point right here. We're just going to take it down one save spot. We're going to go right back to there. I'm just going to pretend like I wasn't playing for the past 45 minutes. All right, let's do this. So I was able to go through that section actually pretty quickly, which ended up being like 35 minutes for me just to go through those last two sections, because the last level is just the boss. So you face Jedi Tyrannosaurus. And once you kill Dasan, it's...
Jedi Tyrannosaurus.
He's literally just like a bipedal, like, dinosaur man kind of deal. It's apparently Star Wars has dinosaur people. Who knows? I've never seen him in anything else but this game.
I mean, I don't know that this game's actually canon anymore, so...
It's not. It's very much not. But, you never know. Maybe Filoni will have, like, him pop up or have the Razor Crest show up at some point or another, which is his ship. Who knows? He'll have a little tease like, yep, in my world it's canon. Like, okay, well, get on, Filoni. But yeah, no, I finished that. It was good. I had a bunch of extra time left, so I'm like, you know what? Let's try the multiplayer. So, like, let's see if this has even survived. I'm like, I'm looking. I go to the servers. I'm like, okay, nothing's populated. Like, sounds about right. So I go play a couple bot missions and just, like, fill the room up with bots. There's something very special about playing Capture the Flag with lightsabers and force powers. Like, it's really, really fun. They still put the guns in there so you can snipe somebody from far away if they got really good deflection powers, because you can, like, choose, like, how much you want to level up and how much power people can have in the game, that kind of deal. And there's little pickups you can get to, like, give you, like, overpowers and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. And then I went back to it and I hit the refresh button on the servers, and there are still servers there, but nobody's in them. So it's all like clan servers or whatever, servers for someone role-playing or whatever. And I kept on trying to choose a couple of them, but it was usually a bot that was in there that said like it was the one player or something like that. I'm like, okay, all right.
So I would like to imagine that you were picking those servers and you just would have people like in their house. You know, they're like on their new computer and they're up and doing stuff, but they have like the old dusty one in the corner. And
just
all of a sudden, like as soon as you log on, it just lights up and an alarm goes off, and they're like, "Oh my!"
Like, what the
somebody's
fuck is
like trying to ping.
Somebody's playing this game. Yeah, no, it was a fun little like nostalgia hit, because I was playing some of those levels I played like let's say way back in like Celebration 2 era. So it just felt so good to go back and play some of those, and it was a lot of fun. So we beat that game. Game number 1 I beat. Game number 2 I beat. We beat Mortal Kombat 1. So we done them with the main story of Mortal Kombat 1. We do still have some, like, it's like I forget what they call it, but it's essentially what you would do after you beat the game, which is kind of like this top-down, isometric, kind of like map, kind of like Mario style. You take your character along, it hits a little level dot, you do a fight there, you go to the next one, it has like modifiers on there, crazy stuff can happen at any time. And there's been some where I'm like, I got pretty frustrated at, but I don't know if that's enough to keep me going with it. It's fun, like if I want to play some Mortal Kombat, it's better than just like I feel jumping into like ladder or just a tower or stuff like that. But it's where you go to get all the gear. So if you want to like start getting all the gear and make your characters look crazy and fun, that's where you go and you have a fun time with it. It's not bad. It's just I also think it's for me, and I don't think I'll buy the next season pass or whatever they have it, because all these seasons are based off of a character. So this is like the season of Fire, so it's based off Scorpion. Everyone's got Scorpion themed outfits and stuff like that. So it's not a bad game. It's a lot of fun. The story is bullshit crazy.
Story?
It's just as nutso as the last one. I mean, the only thing is that I'm not gonna go into super spoiler territory here, but it's a Mortal Kombat game, so it's just nuts. I had the game crash on me once, like at the end, at the very, very end. So like it was like you at the very end. I'm not gonna say what exactly is happening, but it says choose your fighter. So through Mortal Kombat stories, they have the chapters based off of characters, and you play those characters to kind of get the feel for Mortal Kombat and the different characters it has in it. throughout the story. And then the last section is you get to choose whichever character you want out of the entire roster. And then you go and do the final fight or whatever. And then you get the end story for that character. So that would like say, oh, this is what happens at the very end of the story. And it's some crazy bullshit like Mortal Kombat 11 and 10 had. But it's a fitting end. It wasn't a bad ending for the story. We'll see how it goes because I think they left you a little teaser for the DLC at the very end there. But what I will say is that doing the tower for another character, like just the normal tower kind of gameplay, that also gives you a story ending in itself. So I was playing, I think his name was Kenshi, and then it would show him like, oh, he actually teamed up with Jax from this one dimension, and they became like dimensional time cops, and they're cool bros, and they're like both of them are standing there with like shades on and like a suit and stuff like that. I'm like, I kind of like this kind of like little story ending, this little fun story ending, much more than I like the entire like cinematic version of it they had in the main story mode. But it was good, it was fun. Megan Fox talks twice, it's like 2 sentences, both are very small and short, so it's not as egregious as when Christian is playing the Resident Evil 1 and it's the main character talking to you the entire time. Like, I was worried that Megan Fox would talk way too much, and every time she would pop up like in the group of like enemies, I'm like, they kept her silent. The people making this game knew, like, nah, we should just maybe not have her talk. But Megan Fox's agent is doing some type of work right now and wants to get her into like that demographic of males because she was doing the thing for Diablo.
Fucking thirsty neckbeards.
Yeah, well, she did like the thing for Diablo. Now she's doing the thing for Mortal Kombat. I'm like, she's
in Diablo.
She did like, what was it, Alex? We talked about like she like read your obituary or something like that.
Yeah, like if you died poorly
Oh,
or something.
right, with hardcore mode that was bugged that Blizzard fucked up. Yeah.
Apparently, that game also started a new season and no one cares. So
yeah, no one gives a big shit about that game. They're eating that one pretty hard probably.
No, the real people who are eating it are us dummies who fucking paid for it.
Yeah, for sure. But the third game obviously is the one we played for the video game book club, and then I beat the early access version of this game, so I consider it beaten until they gave me the full version. But X Zodiac. So Travis, friend of the podcast and Nerds with Mics, he gifted this one to me, and I kind of just let it sit in the background. And one night, hanging out with the dudes in Discord and Christians there and stuff like that, I'm like, I just want to play something. I'm like, it's something small, like nothing to get into too hard. I'm like, let's just pull this up real quick. And it's a Star Fox-like. It's sometimes a little too on the nose, but it was a lot of fun. It's a very interesting game. It's super duper like it's like Star Fox for the Super Nintendo type of graphics, like that vector graphics looking kind of thing. And it was a lot of fun. They do a lot of interesting things with that game. I don't think it's as good as Star Fox, and I think once Whisker Squadron comes out with like their actual campaign, I think that will probably be better. But we'll see. But yeah, I was like sitting there going, man, this has been like in early access for quite a while. I'm like, yeah, sure, COVID happened, whatever, but it's been there. Kind of, there's no like real updates. And then like the last update was, switching over to Godot, because they were originally Godot, because originally were doing it on the Unity engine, and now they're like, nope. Not with that little controversy going on there about them getting charged for every download. So like, yep, we're moving all the entire game over to Godot.
Now that whole saga has ended, maybe we could do a side quest about that to be like, what the fuck was Unity thinking? Because man, what a choice.
For sure. So I got a little bit of dabbles here. I'll be quick with them. Titanfall 2 servers came back online, so I played a little bit of that one night. That was fun. Titanfall 2, great fucking game.
Still good?
Dude did the whole parkour of that game. It's super buttery smooth. Brink wishes it was that kind of game. Like that's what the kind of game I wanted Brink to be.
I think Brink wishes a lot of things about itself, but yes, I
think you play Titanfall 2, it's like, hey, they did the parkour perfectly, like, and then you just had made this garbage bullshit game. But no, Titanfall 2 is a lovely game. Glad the servers come back on. There's a bunch of teases and newses and things happening that Titanfall fans are going crazy about, so
they really believe a third game is coming. I don't know if
they believe there's an announcement coming at the end of the month for a third game, so we'll see what happens.
But I honestly, I hope it's real. I personally do not think that EA is going to do anything of the sort. But I really, really hope for Titanfall's sake that it's.
You know they're gonna shit in their cereal when they say they have Titans in fucking Apex Legends.
I really think that.
Oh, they're gonna have one character that can call down a Titan. That's the character's ultimate.
That is 100% what it's gonna be.
Yeah. As much as I would love a Titanfall 3, it's probably not gonna happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just wait. They'll announce a new Battlefield and they'll release it around the same time as Titanfall 3. That's when it'll happen.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I hopefully they get their game, but I really don't think it's gonna happen. I just like trying to think of it. It's like, when did EA ever do right by fans of anything? The answer is never.
Never.
So
no, don't worry about it. Yeah. Dabbled a little bit in the Starfield because I was waiting for the next game I'm about to talk about come in. And I'm like, I just want to play something. You know, I got Snap. New season happened. Great. Bloodstone's great. It's fine, but I wanted something more meaty to play. I picked back up Starfield for a little bit more, kind of continued on with those missions. Had a little bit of fun with it. I got into what Christian talked about, which is like this like tower temple thing that you find, which kind of gives you like hey, there's a big crazy shit going on with this game. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody right now, but it didn't do much for me. I got to Neon City after that. I'm like, this is Neon City? Seems pretty small. It's not near as cool as I thought it was going to be. And I'm watching all these streams for Cyberpunk, and I'm really like, I'd kind of rather play that instead. Kind of would. So, like I said, dabble a little bit of that, put it back on the shelf. Snap is happening with also Bloodstone. That's the new season, so it's a spoopy season. And then for the last game I played, and I'm really liking, I'm playing Armored Core 6. And boy, oh boy, Preston has had a fucking time. I'm living a dream out right now. And I got my mech looking like a Death Side Gundam. He's looking fucking rad. And I'm just, I'm just loving that fucking game. I knew it looked good, it looked fun, but I'm like, man, I played FromSoft games before. I don't do too well at those games. I get pretty frustrated and say, fuck this game and walk away from it. But I gameflied this one. I'm like, well, I'll give it the try because it looks really cool and I really want to play this game. And I've gotten through a couple bosses now. When I played a FromSoft game, I felt like I was doing a little bit to the bosses, but I never felt I was doing well with the bosses. Now, like, second, third time, I'm getting them down to like a fifth to a third of their health kind of deal, like maybe even more. And it's like, it feels like I know what I need to do. I know I fucked up here. I know I should have dashed out this section. I got pinned in the corner by that dude. That girl pins me in the corner many times. It's because like I'm trying to get up close and personal with it, and the camera is like auto locking with the targeting, and I'm zooming around with my robot, and it's like trying to go underneath them, and the wall's coming back to me, so my camera's like doing like this whole thing. I'm like, God, I can't see where the fuck I am. And that's usually when I get like punished because she can take you down. Like there's one where she comes in with bullet rollers and it's going like boom like that. That's an immediate kill. Like no matter where my health is at, if I get a full brunt of that hit, I'm done. So like Christian's like watching me do this for a little bit, and he's like, I gotta go to bed. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna keep on playing this one until I beat it, and I finally beat her. And I'm sitting there, I beat it. I'm like, cool. It's gonna fade to black, and it's gonna do the whole end screen, mission complete screen. I'm texting Christian like, yeah, we got him. He's like, yeah, let's go. And I look back up, I press the OK button, nothing happens. I'm like pressing all the buttons, nothing's happening. Not leaving this OK. I collect your experience screen, and like, all right, I have to shut the game down. And right before I was about to shut the game down, I was like, oh, error. You want to send this to PlayStation? I'm like, fuck. Started back up. Didn't count. So I had to go back in, beat her a second time. But to be fair, I've been fighting her for a while, so I kind of knew what I needed to do. I think it took me 2 more tries after that, and I just blew through the level to start off with. But yeah, 2 tries with that, and I got through there.
I saw so it was like under 10 tries for you, like total.
Yeah, so I'm feeling it. This game, I'm feeling it.
And you can tell. I know we talked, and I know we talked about this last night, but it is nothing like a Souls game.
It's not.
Like it is.
The only thing that's even close to it is the fact that you may try a boss a handful of times, but that's almost every video game ever.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you're learning the pattern. You're seeing what attacks they can do. You're learning how to not get hit by those fucking attacks, and you're learning. I mean, with this one, even like maybe Souls is different, but like from what I've seen, like with at least Elden Ring, like there's no like weak points usually on a boss, right? There's no like glowing spots on them. Is that correct?
Yeah, not usually.
Not usually. Okay, so yeah, this one seems to have a lot more a weak spot, or at least like a weakness of some sort, to where if you figure that out, it'll feel really good. You'll feel like a badass dude in the mech. That is just
and there's
destroyed.
a lot of damage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like the one before that, I know you've seen, Alex, is the guy who like is in that, like, it's the one I said that looks like a gun-ho gun. He has like the whole that shit, he just shoots all his missiles out. Like him, I was able to defeat pretty well because like even while you're playing, it says like, oh, this guy's got a plasma shield, and like, fuck, I didn't bring a plasma shield, so I even got him down pretty low. And then I died. I'm like, okay, well, we can change. The nice thing is like the checkpoints right before the boss, and you can change your weapons out and assemble your whole, like you change your whole body and like mech out right before that checkpoint.
In the start menu.
So it's like fucking cool, awesome. The only thing you can't do is like buy stuff from the shop. So, so what I did is I got that little plasma gun that I needed, and then I just had the rest of the other stuff that I had with me, and you melt that shield away really quickly, and as long as he doesn't come out with his fire sword, bet I destroyed him. Same thing with
that's kind of why I ended up deciding not to play that game. I was a little iffy on the mechs, but everything looked gorgeous. But then I was like seeing people play
hate you
it.
for
I
that.
pulled up some streamers. What?
This is the one time like I wish we did see Christian's face as soon as you're like I don't really like the mechs, but everything else is gorgeous. Christian's like,
yeah,
I know, it's just not my thing, right? So, but like
Nowhere.
I looked at like streamers and people even said, but they're like, so much of the time that you spend in that game is like picking out the right, like everything from like treads.
Do you want
to
jump better?
Like,
Do you
I was
wanna...
like, that just I can't. I was like, that's not for me. Not
I
for me. I'll
think-
watch it.
Yeah,
I'll
it
watch
would.
people
That
play
would
it,
usually
but it's not
push
for
me away too. But there's not as many options as you probably are worried about. Because when I got in there, I'm like, okay, there's a slight variations too, but like there's mainly just like 3 to 4 different types of legs. You got your normal legs. You got your inverted knee legs, which are more jumpy boys. You got your quad legs, and you got your tank legs. That's the only ones. You got small variations of that. What looks cooler, what has a little bit difference. It's not going to really matter too much. But like weapons, you got your lasers, you got your explosions, you got your kinetic, and you got your plasma. I can't think of anything else outside of that, but you have different variations of those. Whether it's missile, so you're just choosing that and your flavor on top of that. What you would prefer? Do you prefer a pistol? Do you prefer a rifle? Do you prefer a Gatling gun? Things like that. So it's been a lot of fun. Like I said, I built my Death's Eye. First it was like I made this like purple and blue mech, and then I'm like, I'm just not feeling the vibe of this mech in this world and scenario. I'm like, okay, let's dial it back a little bit. I'm like, Death's Eye Gundam is my favorite Gundam. I'm like, let's see how accurate we can get, and the way you're choosing color palettes and stuff, like it's very close, and I can put little decals on it. So the Death's Eye has like 2 like yellow things like right here. So I'm like, okay, we're just gonna do 2 decals right there and there, and it looks fucking rad. I think I look cool as hell. But I'm enjoying that game quite a bit. It's very anime. It's very mech. It's very, very good. So I love that game. Lastly, I won't go too much on it, but I did see a movie. I dragged Christian out to the theaters, and we saw The Creator.
Oh yeah,
I hear that movie is absolutely gorgeous.
It is phenomenal looking. So this is Gareth Edwards. You know him from the new Godzilla movie and Rogue One. So when you see the trailer, you're like, okay, this like just screams at you, Rogue One. Like even like the I forget what they call it, but like the orbital missile launcher thing that they have hunting down AI people. That thing looked exactly like the thing above Scarif, like that whole like shield kind of array type of deal. So there's a lot of things that he like pulled from.
But it acts like Godzilla.
Yeah, but it acts like Godzilla. But yeah, it's a good movie. It can be a little depressing because like you see like the obvious nightmare of what AI could be later on down the road for us, and then you also see like just how horrible and just disgusting like the U.S. government can be when it comes to things like this, and it's just like you're like, oh my god, you are just the worst, the absolute worst. Like, and there's still like the whole like there's no real heroes, there's no real like both sides are kind of still shitty, but it's really good. Like the whole world building of it, it's a fantastic sci-fi show that's not going to be based off of already known intellectual property. So it's nice to kind of have that fresh. kind of story kind of be brought to you. But it's done in a very like Japanese film, like Akira Kurosawa-esque, to where there's chapters and it'll fade to black. It'll show like the creator, the child, the mother kind of thing in between to kind of negate the chapter or to tell you what the chapters are. And it was a really good movie. I liked it a lot. About a good 2 hours, like a little bit over 2 hours, and it's very well, very well done.
Yeah, I loved the formatting, the way that it was shown. Like, was really good. I like that it just wastes no time. Like it is. Yeah, it goes to those chapters and just like it lets it go. It's really it's good that way.
Very
and then to Preston's point, it is fucking depressing. Like it is like one. I mean, like, you guys know what I do for a living, but it's like, so I already hear about AI enough in my fucking daily life to then, like, when I see a movie that's like, here's some horror film shit that can happen with it. It's like, bro, I don't, like, one of the thing is like, and it's very early on in the movie, so it's not, and I'm sure it's in the trailer, but it's like, people, if they're short on money, can sell their likeness to these companies to allow them to put the skin on some of these robots to, they're called simulants.
You
like,
donate your likeness is what you're doing.
Yeah, the slur for them is called Sims. But you can sell basically your likeness so that they have like a human face to put on it. And that is nightmare fuel. Yeah. The idea
people maybe walking around, it's not actually them, it's actually AI with the skin of their face, because they have the whole imagine, that's all robotic back here.
Yeah, like imagine like, you know, somebody that you know that has like passed away, like either like a family member or like a friend or whatever, but before they went they sold their likeness, so you're just walking around and there's like 10 of them standing in a row, like just like doing robot shit, and you're just like, yep, hate this. Hate this. Yeah. Like that. But yeah, it was a good movie. It's also, I was thinking about this, and it's because the only time that I ever go to movie theaters is when Preston wants to go to one. Yeah. And so this is the first non-Marvel movie that I have seen in a theater since Baby Driver.
Jesus, that's a while.
Good. What was that, like 2015?
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah,
almost a decade since you've seen nothing but Marvel movies in the theater. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think if I dragged
2017. It was 2017. That's way too long.
It's way. First of all, no. If I could have went longer without going to a theater, I would have went longer. Because even there was a moment where Preston joked, we're sitting in there and they're like talking about like, it was like the IMAX screen or whatever, and they're like, you're seeing movies the way they were meant to be seen. And Preston
we're both
goes,
like,
fuck that. Preston goes, fuck that. The way they're meant to be seen is on my couch in my living room.
Yeah, like the future of watching movies. I'm like, yeah, the future of watching movies is me staying at home. You fucking garbage. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, but they didn't do the whole thing they did before Dungeons and Dragons, right? Where they all are like, "Thank you."
No, thank
well,
God.
they had what's her name? God damn it.
Nicole Kidman. Did you go to an AMC?
She went to Nicole Kidman walking up the stairs. She did that. Yeah. So she was still there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the only IMAX in town. I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna go see it, I would like to see it in IMAX because it's done in IMAX. So like, let's go see that. And I watched it. I'm like, it wasn't even nice like recliner seats. It was just normal.
No, dude,
seats.
It was such a shitty theater. It was a mall
like a fold down seat. I'm like,
dingy.
oh my God. I'm like, okay, well, we're not doing IMAX anymore. That's fine. If we need to, we'll go to Alamo Draft House in Chicago.
What I got mad about was I was like, when I was driving home, I saw that the Avalon, the theater that you and I like going to, it was showing The Creator. And I was like, man, fuck. Yeah.
Man, because I went to the website and it wasn't showing me that. It was showing me all the fucking like old movies they're playing. It wasn't showing me that. Because I would have definitely just gone to Avalon at that point.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll make sure to check that again next time we go see a movie.
It's all right.
But yeah, that's it. That's my week.
All right. Well, you know what time it is. It's you, sir.
Time for that Video Game Book Club, the finale part 2 of Gris. Gris. Fuck. I messed it up once, and then now I cannot stop saying Gris. It's Gris.
Sure.
So everybody knows it's Gris.
I like the little accent you threw onto it.
The Gris?
Just for fun there a second ago.
I've been doing a lot of Duolingo, man. It's They have me doing the speaky parts, so I've been doing the accent with it because it just pops up there easier.
Answer me something really quick on Duolingo. So Christian probably knows by now, and Allie definitely knows. She's doing Japanese as well. That like, man, your progress at 2 points actually just stops as they're like, hey, learn all of these letters. I assume that's not the same for you doing Spanish because like it's just English letters, right?
No, it's not, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah, Allie was like, how long am I going to be stuck on these? And I go, well, I was doing like 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 a day when I was doing it because it was just like the way work fell. Like, for you, weeks. You're going to be stuck on those letters for weeks. So have fun.
I've been a lot longer. I usually do one a day. Sometimes I'll miss one, but I usually do one a day.
Even like they have the accents over the E's and stuff like that. Like if you misspell it on there, like, oh, hey, by the way, just remember those, but you still got it right.
Yeah, but like but you're still writing in English. Like there is no writing in English and Japanese, right? Yeah. Like everything is a new character. Mm-hmm. So I just wondered because like, dude, it slows your progress
whatsoever
down.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Going on to part 2 of Gris, the finale. We start off in blue. Is the level that we start off at. It starts raining. This is more of like a water type of level. We slowly start getting a little bit of water puzzle designs. Very cave-like. Gets a little dark in here. This is obviously covering depression. So blue has that kind of sad kind of connotation to it. It's not just a Leanne Rimes song. Blue is for that emotion. All right. But it's gorgeous. It's down there. It's like the mushrooms that are in there, like they're all dark, but like the bottom part glows on it. When you hit them, they kind of do a little skirt like twirl on there. It looks really nice. You get to the ice section where there's ice puzzles. That took me a hot second to figure out what exactly I'm doing there because I totally forgot about the entire ice section. So I get there and it like freezes you for a second, and I'm noticing Gris she does the whole like Sub-Zero clone move to where like it just leaves a clone ice version of herself there, and then finally I figured out, going to black form, you have a block to step on now, and sometimes you're timing those a certain way, but all looks very, very beautiful. And then towards the end of that is when we get it's just your swim power, but it doesn't really just let you swim, because you turn into something a little bit different. Like your dress like comes up to like the top of your head, and you look more like a manta ray kind of thing, I think, when I'm like playing it. So I guess I call it the fish power, but it's the mobility you have when you hit the water is really nice. Like, it's very fast. Like you control, like if you go to the other side and you hit like your little jump button, it kind of boosts you. And so like you're driving on, just doing diagonals and stuff like that. It feels very, very fluid. And there is the spot in that you're going in there to get all of your stars. Once you fill up that stars, it unlocks like this little turtle guy. You get like a little pot that has all the stars on it, and then when you fill up all the stars, the little pieces of the turtle man comes out of there, and it's turtle power time, and he starts going down to kind of let you go further into the level. Because I don't know if you guys tried, but if you try to go down in there without the turtle, it just pushes you back up. It says, "Nah, fam, go back up," and it will keep you from going all the way down there. So once you get that going, it pushes you down. You get through the turtle, and then you've got a bunch more of these like water/ice sections, and you still have some of those platforms that will disappear and come back. Not very often, because what this one does more of now is they don't show you the platform, but there's rainwater dropping on it, so you do see the platform there you can jump on as well. But before I get towards the end of that section, how do you guys feel so far about the beginning of the blue level?
So, I love the blue level more than the green. I liked the puzzles. Yes. I really liked what they did with the swim power. So, like, it's the first time we really see some variation in the puzzles. So, like, you're not just swimming, you're not just jumping. Like, you use your swim power to shoot you up through the water, and there's, like, a floating bit of water that you go into, and then you have to, like, shoot at an angle. So I love the variation.
It's, like, weird, like, gravity reversal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was very well done. Not to mention the music was fantastic, and then what you'll get to in a minute, when the cinematics cut in, I thought they were great too. But one of my favorite parts about the entire level is the little attention to detail, because there's so much falling water and waterfalls and stuff. When you're out in the air, you hear it, and when you hit the water, it muffles.
It does that
Which
cool,
was
so
muffled
well
underwater
done with the
sound.
sound.
Yeah.
So this was my favorite area of the game. I like it even more than the last area
Same.
that we're gonna come up to next. But yeah, I really really dug it. So my only problem was like and a lot of this I have to chalk up to it was fucking 4 a.m. and I was on an airplane.
Fair.
But it took me a little bit to remember where to go, like to get to this zone. And so, dude, I'm like walking around and I'm like trying to I'm like, does it want me to go this way? And then I like climb up all the way to the top and I click like onto the roof and there's like nothing there, but it was like letting me go up to the roof for some reason. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, where am I supposed to go? Like, I was like, I don't understand this. I'm not I was like, I would be so mad if like this plane lands and I haven't finished this game because I'm stupid and I can't figure out where to go. But then I figured it out and it was fine. But it was this area was my absolute favorite. I think the music was the best. I think the area design was the best. The puzzles were actually like fun. The ice
puzzle took me a minute in there.
Which
like
one?
when you had to do the ice puzzle, when you had to do like the two like
the
levers
weights
that were going up and down.
Yeah, because you can't put both of them down the same.
It was good.
I'm like,
like the crystal. Yeah, that crystal part was fucking really cool. This area was really really fucking cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Yeah,
you're gonna say the one thing that frustrated you, I think.
Yeah, but that's more of a full game thing, so I'll save it.
Okay.
But yes.
Okay.
So, let's see here. So this also triggered my big fear of like empty open water. There's one point where you're coming down and like there's little tiny fishies here and there, little fishies, but one point when you're going down the very beginning. If you don't notice it unless you're looking at but there's like a silhouette of this giant fucking fish in the background, and I didn't notice it for a second. And I noticed it, I'm like, ooh, Preston doesn't like that.
You know what's funny
like
is that he's just like a little triangle, so he's the same shape as all the other fish,
he's giant.
And he's got some big dumb eye, and so all I thought of was I don't know if it's a really really old meme from like early internet, but it's like when somebody pulls like a dork fish out of the water and he's like, I'm a dork fish, and all I imagine is this fucking thing in the background just being like, I'm a dork fish. So it made me laugh.
Oh no.
So we do a bunch of those puzzles. We get the turtle time, which takes us down in, and then that's where we start. No, you go down to the turtle, and then you get to another section to where you find the statue. I call it the booty statue because you go in through its booty. I'm sitting there, I'm like, there's got to be a different way to go through here. I'm like, no, they want you to enter in. It looks like one of those like anatomy things you see at the doctor's office. That's where it's like halfway cut off, and like the stairs are going up through. I'm not gonna go too hard into it, but it's you went to the booty statue. It's a booty statue. And then that's where you can kind of finish up that one with the more puzzle solving and gathering more of those stars, or I guess they're fireflies actually. And that's when you go into the last section, which is acceptance. So I think I must have messed up my notes, but let's see here.
The end of this part.
The end of this part is where the eel. Scene. Is that the eel thing, or does that happen later on the acceptance?
It's where that's it. It's where the eel is chasing you, and it's a pretty long section. It's really good because like you're trying to swim out of its mouth, and it's chomping, and it'll blow you further. And after so long of that, is when the music really kicks in, and then the turtle comes up. And
so that got me.
Explodes it.
That had a lot of emotional resonance to me because the music builds up. It's coming after you the entire time, and you're doing this for quite a while. It's not just like a short little run through. It's you're doing a lot of twists and turns. The thing splits off into like multiple pieces at one point, and it's coming after you. It's doing the whole thing. Like it's really suspending it for you, and you can't really die. You can get nipped, but you'll still get pushed out. But at the very end, it's supposed to you're just right there. Like it's like you're just hanging out right in the mouth. And then the turtle comes through and busts through and kind of saves you, essentially, or saves you from yourself kind of deal, the darkness, and helps you out.
Really quick before the turtle does that, there's a brief moment in the middle of the chase where you get away from the eel and you're like, you think everything's fine, and like you're just sort of swimming by yourself for a second. I'm going to attribute this to me. I was very tired, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, cool. I got rid of the eel. I was like, so this was what my guess was, right? For how the story was going to go, which was, I figured at that moment, I was like, oh, okay, I got rid of the eel. I was like, so I'll probably swim up and then it'll finish the light bridge and then like I'll go and climb up and then maybe like the bird will show back up and then something will happen and blah, blah, blah. That was my guess. So I was not expecting when the fucking eel like shoots out
that second time
from the side.
Dude.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm sure the people around me probably thought that I was like, I had fallen asleep and like shook myself awake because I literally jumped in my seat. Like I was doing this thing, like, so my face was itching. So I was just like holding the left analog stick to like move myself around. And I'm like rubbing my face to like itch my face. And then it happens. And I was like literally jumped in my seat and grabbed the other part of the controller to like start pressing the dash button.
I verbally went, oh, like when it happened. Cause you do not expect that second eel scene to pop up. Like, you do not think it's gonna... It comes out right from the bottom. It's like you're walking, doing a platforming kind of thing. You go down, and it's like, poof, out. I'm like, God damn. And then you do a little bit more of that running away scene. But, yeah, it gets you. They did a good job.
I definitely got... I got got. Yeah, I got got.
So, the last section of this will be the yellow section. This will be for acceptance. A gorgeous opening. Like, the whole... Like, you're on the statue, the big, giant moon's right behind you. Like, it just looks fucking phenomenal. So this one has a little more of some light puzzles, and you're illuminating some things as far as getting close to them. So you illuminate like some trees, or a tree that will kind of help show you where you need to go. And then later on, you'll start noticing there's a little firefly who will kind of walk with you and kind of illuminate parts of the map that aren't there until they're lit up. So it's not just that it's dark, it's that these sections don't show until you have some yellow light around them. So, like, some stairs will be there if the little guy is following you around, or if you go where the tree is at, it'll kind of brighten up the area, and it'll show you, oh, here's this whole entire staircase. So when you walk away from it, it slowly fades, and then you want to make sure you get up to the top before it fades, because then you'll just fall through it all. So you're doing all those puzzles. This is probably, I mean, I like the look of the blue section, but this is where it's the most gorgeous, I think, because of the fact you're getting all the colors now. And then as you kind of go through this small little main section, you are filling up and you're getting a bunch of the stars to kind of get up to the top section, where you go up there and you gain your voice back. So now you can do the singing. Now you can use the little B button to sing, and it's very Flower-esque. As they love the game Journey, I'm sure they kind of took some ideas from Flower as well. As far as like you do the little song and the guy does a little expanse of the circle, and then some of these flowers
brings life back.
Yeah, it brings life back to it. So like all these flowers are blooming, and some of those flowers have little butterflies inside of them that you can kind of use to shoot yourself up. And this is where we get into like the super, I think probably the most complex puzzles we have in the game, to where the game does a thing of, okay, we got water on the bottom, and we also have a kind of suspended water at the top that you kind of mess around with. But also there's this middle divider in this area to where gravity will change too. So now you're walking on ceilings and everything's upside down. So it can be very disorientating. Like I have to be very careful with how you're doing some of that platforming in there, because I will mess up. I will not jump high enough, or I'll miss a ledge, something like that, because it just messes with you just a little bit. Just enough to kind of like you can have to do that whole section again. Usually they give you some sort of like start off point where if you fall down, you're not pushed back too far. But I think this is probably the most punishing the game probably got for me, as far as like I messed this section up. I have to go back down, jump over here, jump into this water tree thing, get shot up, hit the gravity thing to where it hits me up in that section of water, fly over here, and just it's a whole to do. And there are some sections to where, because there's the whole like a temple underwater, essentially. Kind of same structures you've been seeing the entire game. But some of them are gated off, and they look the same color as everything else. Like, they're not like grayed out. They're not like lighter colored, so you know. But some of those you can go through, some of those you can't. So, you might know this in the gameplay, but like, think of my head as a tower. So I'm doing this a lot of times. Going through the tower area just to kind of see if I can actually go through it.
Are you talking about the mirrored tower part where like there's a tower above but you were in the water below?
There's that point, and there's also points to where
Okay.
like to get like a special one to where it's like there's a tower below, and then everything looks the same, but there's some sections you can go through to where you go behind those little pillars. And there's some sections to where you can't go through at all.
In the one section that I can remember that I'm thinking of right now, it's mirrored, right? Like there's one above and below. But you just look at the top to see the different colored ones, and that's how you know where to swim. On the
So I didn't even know that, so I was just fucking like bang, 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 bang. Because the thing is, they don't show you the top.
Yeah.
You go up to the top and look at the top, but as soon as you go to the bottom, it doesn't show you like the top anymore. So I didn't notice that, so I'm just sitting there like boing, boing, boing. I'm like, okay, this is how we go. This one, yeah.
It took me a minute to figure that out as well, but once I figured it out, I was like, oh, okay. I
did not know that was a trick. Good to know.
Boing, 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 boing.
So you get
Why
to
is
the
this
top,
game so frustrating?
because I'm not paying attention. Yay, me.
I skipped the cutscene.
I did not skip any questions. So you get this thing, you open the flowers. Also activates these like little orb sections, which are kind of like little power generators. So you're kind of activating a few of those to kind of help you get around. Like one of them looks like a little robot spider, and then if you go to the far right or far left, it'll move you around a little bit. Section where there's like two little scarabs that are kind of like floating platforms that go up and down, and it's also like one of those like gravity sections. It's just they went all out on the puzzles in this one because they knew it was going to be the last main level. They wanted to be a little more challenging, and tossing gravity, tossing all those little kind of tricks into it. It was a lot of fun. And the water, I can't say this again, but the water, how fast you can move and how fluid that feels is just they nailed that. Like you can mess up swimming in a lot of different games, but they super nailed this one. So yeah, it activates all the robots. And then at the very end, like you're kind of finishing it all up to get to the top, and then you take all those stars because you finally now go back up to the main section. So where you're kind of throwing all those constellations after each level, you finally have finished all this off, and you can go up there and go to the very tippy top, which is kind of like where like the hand is at, right? And then Mr. Eelbird comes again, and this time, after like you're singing, you're bringing the statue back together that you saw at the very beginning of the game, but Mr. Eelbird comes back, and now he's just like filling up the level. It's just filling it up. It's consuming you while you're singing, and like it's
getting into your mouth.
Yeah, it's like getting into your mouth. It does that the whole Matrix, like when it has like that silver thing to Neo.
Yeah,
kind of the same thing to where it kind of goes in, and right then when everything's black, statue sings too, which breaks the whole blackness apart, which I thought was fucking phenomenal. It hits really hard. It hit just as well as the second time around. And that's been both you and the statue are now singing together. I'm sorry, I skipped the whole point to where right before that, like you fall down a little bit, you're going through the water, coming back up, and you're jumping on all the pieces that the bird eel broke up, and then you're singing again on the hand to bring it all together.
That part. So all of a sudden, like where you're saying there,
you thought you finished the game,
like,
yeah.
You think you finished the game, and all of a sudden it's like completely pale. There's no color from the world. Right after
the eel thing
Yellow,
took it
you
all.
brought all the color back, and I loved the platforming section, like all the way back up to the hand.
Little pieces,
fantastic.
Yeah. So that you and the statue are now singing, and it's bringing color back into the world. And after that, it's like this whole super sweet kind of moment to where, obviously she's a very sad little girl, and goes up to there, and it's kind of that heartwarming moment to where like they kind of connect again, like they were at the very beginning of the game, and the statue's crying, the little girl's crying, I'm not crying, you're crying, kind of whole thing, the entire ending part of this. The whole thing is like I probably should have played this yesterday, because like going into the podcast, I'm like I went took Ted for a walk real quick before he did the podcast. I'm like, this is a weird emotion to have, like, as I'm walking my dog outside. Like, I'm a very emotional person right now for no good reason.
People are looking at you walking Ted, and you're, like, wiping tears away from your face, and they're like,
what the fuck is this dude?
What is this serial killer about to do to this poor little dog?
No, but it's a very, very good ending. If you were to have gotten all of the secret parts, you get, like, an extra little scene. I think it happens here, to where it's... Go ahead.
So this is the point. So I love this ending, by the way.
Yes.
Like,
I think what I kind of want to do is, I kind of like really quick before you go. I want to kind of go around because I know there's like different ways that people interpret this ending. I kind of want to go around after you get done out and like let's all just say what we think the ending is, because I'm interested to see like what everybody.
Well, so I guess that's kind of what I was gonna say here. So like, I love the ending because, as you said, Preston, like you put the whole statue together and you come up, and I think the most touching part is the statue drops a tear. So the statue is massive. You're in its hand. It drops a tear, and then Gris walks over and like kisses the tear. Now, I guess I missed or just never paid attention to the fact that so I think I was right. I think I called last time that, like, in my interpretation, it's coming to terms with losing your mom, right? That was my guess. And I think I'm right on that, but I don't think I realized the age that Gris was until I saw the end credit scene. And for the first time, like, the special scene Forgetting Everything, and if you get that, that extra little scene gives you a close-up of Gris that you have not seen this entire game. And yeah, she's a girl. Yeah, like, I thought she was a woman.
No, she's a girl.
I thought it was a woman.
I'm thinking like sub 10.
Yeah. So like, I thought it was like girl lost her mom. But like, I'm thinking like woman lost her mom, just because like the character model, or maybe teen, like, you can't really tell. And then I saw it was already sad. It was beautifully sad.
Yes.
But then I saw that end credit scene, and it was like an even more dagger to the heart, because it's like, clearly, in my opinion, this young girl lost her young mother, like, way too early. Effing A.
Yeah.
Man.
And that all the things that you're collecting, oof. I mean, can we talk about that? You guys saw the scene. All the things we're collecting are fireflies from that scene. So that was the whole point of, like, what, like, I thought they were stars, but no, they're fireflies that are helping you out, and that's like being a part of your mom and like kind of reconnecting with that, helping you to get through the grief and accepting it in the end. And then just her being like, okay, here you are. I'm gonna put you back over here, and you're gonna walk all the way up there and just accept it. Just, you're done. You're done with the grief. But obviously, things will come back. There'll always be that bird eel somewhere down the line of your life that you're gonna have to deal with that shit again. But now you know how to kind of deal with it. You've accepted it. It will always be there. It'll always be happening, but you'll be able to handle it a lot better.
I loved that. Sorry, Christian. I was just gonna say real quick
fine.
to it always coming back. I loved that in this game that you never finished a section and it was done. Whether it was the color that would find its way from past levels sprinkled into new levels, or even the inky monster that would like show up in different places. Like, I thought that was a nice touch, because if you're really looking into the messaging, if you're looking for some of that, it shows that, like, it's not this linear path. It's not like step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and you're done. Like, you might be on step 4, but you still have some of that, like, denial or anger popping back up into the world and the color. Like, it was so beautiful in how they did it.
Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah. So the way I sort of interpreted the ending was like, I definitely agree. It's definitely a mother-daughter situation. The way that it sort of felt to me was that, like, Gris was trying to bring back her mom, like, in this world, right? Like it was trying to bring back her mom, and it succeeds, but because of the, like, that darkness or whatever it is, like, as soon as the mom comes back, her last act is to, like, free Gris of that issue. Like, not only that, but like the world at large that Gris finds herself in, kind of thing. And so it was like, the reason that it ended up being sad for me is because I was thinking about, like, spending all this time to wish that you had one more moment with somebody, just for that, knowing that one more moment, like, that comes with that person would be like, I still can't be, like, I can help you in this particular instance, but now that I'm doing this will actually be my last moment with you, and, like, it's a little bit of closure, but it's still sad because it happened. And so that was the way that I took it. And so and again, I don't know if that's true or if that's what they were going for, but when I thought about that idea of, like, doing all this work to have that one more moment, just to have it have to go away, or, like, or whatever it looks like, right? Like, I was like, oh damn, that is super sad. Yeah, I definitely echo everything you guys say. It's very, very, very good.
Yeah.
The thing that I wanted to save, well, really quick, is there anything else that people wanted to talk about with the ending before?
Yeah, I'll just say. Oh, go ahead, Preston.
I was going to say
this is. You go. I won't. You do it. No.
Okay, I'll do it. I love the fact that, like, to me, like, again, like, a lot of this is going to be interpreted differently for different people. But the things that help her get through the grief, like, everything is her, like, pushing against it. All those stages of grief outside of acceptance are not accepting the fact that her mom is gone. So, but the things that are helping her push past those stages are things that she has gained from her mother, memories of that person. So the fireflies are helping her get to different stages. The singing helps her bring life back to the world and helps kind of bring back the memory, the strong memory that helped save her in the end. It's all of those about the memories, and I think that's a really good kind of point for grief, is that the people are never like truly gone because you'll still have those memories with you, and you'll still have that to kind of like help you get past some stuff. So like if you're like, man, I really wish my dad was here for this, I'm like, no, your dad is here. All those memories and all those things and all that knowledge he gave you is what's going to help you get past that.
Yeah, this is the last thing I'll say before like you go, Christian, then we give our rating. But like playing this game, as soon as I finished it, I was like, this is one of those quintessential games that like for people that don't play video games should play this game, right? Because I think it's something that everyone in their life has experienced and everyone can get something out of. So my immediate thought was like, I'm going to go ahead and download this on the Steam Deck, which I actually think I did last time. But I'm going to go ahead and put it up on the Steam Deck, and I'm going to let Allie like play it and just tell her like, hey, go experience this, because it's easy to play. It's easy to follow. But I think this thing was just a masterclass in showing how color and sound can completely change emotionally how you feel about something. So I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was fantastic. Like I said, I will probably have Allie go through it. Because I thought it was one of those fantastic games for everybody to play. Even people are like, oh, I don't know what video games to play. I don't like video games. I've never played them. Like, this is one of those games you should try and see what that medium can be.
For sure.
So, my only complaint about it is, and it's not even, it is part of this game, but it's also, I think, anything that finds itself trying to accomplish what Gris is going for as well, which is, and I know, I'm sure you have to have like some in there for this, but like I think that if you're going to do a game like this, I think you should remove all collectibles from this game, or any game like this. And what I mean by that though is like, I think the story here is so good and the message that they're trying to do is really good that having I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. Having video game mechanics get in the way of me experiencing this story is the opposite of what I want.
Sure.
Like,
because you can't break away from your gamer brain. We know we're constantly needing to be looking for the other stuff.
And not even just that, right? Like, so there's it's not the missing the collectibles piece, right? So much like, oh God, I got 1 out of 4. It's like, it's knowing that I am one. It's like, okay, I know I have the knowledge now that this is going to lead to an extra scene. So that's already like, I think when you're, especially like, because when you are leaning more towards the, like, a very artful, like, approach to this story, right? Like, you are giving an experience to the player, right? Like, you are saying, like, I have crafted this narrative, and it is the only thing that matters about this game. Like, obviously, you know, the music, the art, and everything is absolutely gorgeous, right? But at the core of it, what this game wants to do is explain to you their feelings on loss and what that looks like for them, like that whole process, right? So I think when you've decided that that's what your main objective in somebody for somebody to experience your work, you should remove all barriers that do that, right? So like, if you need to have achievements or collectibles or whatever, as then like you just think that it would be a fun thing to do for people to like, I would rather see that. Me personally, if I would have asked like either Xbox or Sony or Steam or whoever, been like, hey, I'm just not going to do achievements. Is that cool? Like, do you care? Like, because I think it undermines what you're trying to do when like you have this like moment, right? And then even the ones that are just as simple as like, and I think this goes for like Journey and other stuff too, right? Like I was thinking more on this as I finished this game, whereas like, if you have to have a cheap, like maybe make them silent so they like maybe like think of a way to like so they don't pop up, right?
And then see
like
at the end of the game what you got, and then you're like, oh, I can go back and do this kind of thing, or I didn't get all these things
or something
at
like
the
that.
end
Like
of the game.
But like having a moment, like right, like think like when you have the moment when you unlock when yellow comes back into the world, right, and it's like light and all this other stuff. It just feels weird in that moment to have like a little thing that pops up with like a little sound and it's like yellow and you're like, I don't even like I kind of want to pretend like I'm just trying to experience this right now. Like I don't need to be reminded of the gamification of it all because the story is so good that I don't need that. I'm not playing this for fucking achievement points. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
And so then like for the mementos, right? Like I would have much rather those been, instead of hidden collectibles around the world, I would have rather those been things that you get at the end of each level that maybe in different sequences are the scene that plays out at the end, right? So like you're sitting there and you're like, oh, there's this scene of this little girl running and chasing some fireflies, and then there's this scene of the mother like touching her shoulders and all, but you get them out of order, right? And so you're like trying to figure out what's going on, and then after you finish the game and the singing and the statue goes away, what you're left with is in that moment Gris is then plays back all of those memories that she went through, right? Like in the actual order. So then you see it with like the mom touch the fireflies and the whole thing. Like that, I guess that's what I'm getting at is like, I think when you've decided that what you want to deliver to players is an experience, right? I think remove all of the like that shit out of the
let the
game.
story stand without the game stuff.
Because you have and like I don't even care if that makes it, because like I think there's some people who are like, well, if that's the case, then the fucking game will be like an hour and a half long, and I'm like, it's good, who cares? Like I like, as long as like, I think if a game is going to go for something that a movie would go for, right, and it's going to last for a typical movie runtime, which is rounded, like, if you really think about it, if you cut out all of the, if you cut out all of the memento hopping, you're probably sitting...
2.5, yeah.
Exactly, and that is exactly what a movie is, right? Like, that's right about a movie's runtime. And so, like, for me, I'm like, if that's what you want to go for, I'm 100%, like, I'm there, and because I think that even in those moments, there's a lot of things that only gaming can provide in that sort of interactive way, right? And Gris does a lot of cool shit with that. But it's like, if you remove that stuff out of it, to exactly what you said, Alec, let that story breathe on its own and not have it be bogged, like this thing of like looking around and being like, oh, this area is locked off that I tried to go get to. Like, I shouldn't even, that thought shouldn't even be in my brain of like, oh, I want to try to backtrack and like
do I go left or do I go right?
Like,
I should just be able to go in one direction, not to worry if I missed a collectible back on the other side.
Exactly. Like, yes. Like, I just like I just want to experience this thing that you crafted, right? Because it's a very curated experience, right? And and I'm not trying to say that like any games that have collectibles or achievements are like worse or bad stories because of that. I'm just saying that when you are going for something that is this meticulously crafted as far as what you're trying to get across to the player, like if you are setting out, right, like for example, fucking Gears of War, right, does not set out to give the player some like profound fucking, you know, like thought or take on a real world event.
I bet you Cliffy B highly disagrees.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure, but in practice, especially with the other 300 people that made that game, like, it makes sense that collectible in that game is dog tags, right? Because you're soldiers that are like so you're just running around looking for, and it's like, oh, I get it, because you're, and they even justify it in that world. They're like, oh, look, you're just trying to help out the fallen soldiers by sending this shit back to their families or whatever. And you're like, okay, whatever, don't care, but fine, thank you. And it's just like, you know, extra reasons to go back and play through. But at the end of the day, you're just like, no one really gives a shit about that stuff. But it at least makes sense within that world. Whereas like, but when somebody is saying like, hey, I have a interpretation of something, like I had something that happened to me or whatever, that I am trying to create a story around that I want other people to experience, that I think, like, a great example is a game that we all know. It was a few years back, but it won a shit ton of awards, but it was called That Dragon Cancer.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that game? It won like a bazillion awards, right, for being like one of the pinnacles in storytelling of game, where it's just like, because it's telling a two parents worked on it, and it was a story of losing their child to cancer, right? Like, it was like this whole, it's very, very sad, it's fucking brutal, but like, and I don't think it does, so don't quote, but like, if that game had like a bunch of collectibles and shit that I was trying to run through while like a child is dying, if you're just like, this seems weird. I don't need to like be getting like ratings at the end of a level that's like, you got 4 out of 5, and you're like, there's a kid dying. That's, why am I, what is this, what is happening here? So I think that would be the one thing that I would change, is like, I wish the mementos, because I think that ending scene is very good, like the extra scene that you get if you collect them all. I would have just rather them break them up and be like, once I get to the end of the level, I collect that memento, and then it plays like a snippet of that scene, and it's like weirdly out of order.
Like when you
so
toss those stars up in the level and it makes the part of that bridge, like they give you like a flash of the memory or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, you know, at the end, it plays through, and you're like, oh fuck, that's what was happening. And like, I think it would make it hit that much harder, and it would let that story just sort of wash over you, and there's no barriers, right? Like, I mean, even in Journey's case, right? Like, the most that Journey does with its collectibles about finding little pieces of the scarf is just allows you to jump longer. But in general, that game is that game. Like, you will get the same experience out of Journey playing it and running straight through that you would if you just ran around and got all the little scarf pieces. Which, again, that's I'm fine if you really want to do. But I just think, when you're trying to give somebody that tailored of an experience, I just think it makes sense. Like, it was just something that I felt when I finished it. But
that's why my playthrough, I knew that I was just going to go. I'm like, I'm not going to look for these. Like, if I stumble upon them, great. If I find a section, I'll figure out the puzzle. But like, I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth the size just to make sure.
Yeah,
I think everything you had to say is a valid critique, because I agree. Like, in the beginning, there was that gamer brain of me that was like, okay, I need to look to see how many little things are over this icon before I go into it, and I need to pay attention. With that being said, though, I think partly due on timing on how much I left myself to play before we did it, I didn't find myself chasing those things in the final couple of areas.
Nope,
and
me either.
I think the one thing this game did really well at is give you that open go right, go left while making it very linear. Like, you make it to one side and you go, okay, I've definitely made it to the end. It's popped me back out in the center. Now go the other way. I think they nailed that. I think your critiques are valid. But I will say, for me personally, before I just give my rating, I don't know that they hindered my rating, because mentally I turned it off. Yeah. If I would have been focused on it, I think it'd be different, but I turned it off and skipped it.
I did,
and
yeah.
I think I was still high.
I turned it off as well. My seconds, I was done. It's just, I was thinking about it as I was playing, where like,
That's
going
super
through,
valid.
like,
I could,
like,
you've
actually
playing, like, made me rethink that now that you've said it. So.
Like, as I was, there was like in the underwater section specifically, because I loved being in that area so much, that I was like, thinking to myself, there was like one section where I'm like, okay, is this the critical path? Because I don't want to go that way. Like, I want to explore the other places first before I do that. And I was thinking to myself in my head, I don't even want to be having that thought.
Yeah.
Like, I should just be thinking like, I know this is the way that I need to go. And so give me this. Like, I want more of this. Like, give it to me kind of thing. And I shouldn't even be wondering like, okay, I want to save this for last, so I go do everything else first. Like, it's just, I think it's at odds with what the actual point of making this game was, right? And so, yeah, that's just where I came at. But I also, that there was, right as I was maybe halfway through that swimming stage, or probably even before, I was like, fuck this. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. Like, I just want to. I'm here for the story.
So I say Preston gives his rating last. That's typically what we do, right? Because it's your game. I'm gonna rate this out of 10 fireflies because I think it is. I think it is proper for this one. Out of 10 fireflies, I've been going back and forth between two numbers, but I'm just gonna give in. I'm gonna go ahead and rate it a 10. Honestly, for me personally, because I think the things they nailed outweigh the things they didn't. And though, as I just said, Christian, everything you said is like incredibly valid now that you think about it. For me, I was totally in the moment while playing this game. I love the music so much that like after that first playthrough, it's on my computer and it's what I've been having playing in the background as I've been doing work all week. So like the music is great. I think the gameplay was simple. As I mentioned before, like I finished it and I really like. I'm gonna have Allie play it now. Like I think it was that good. Like I can't tell you the last time I was like, hey, I finished this. Let me go toss to my wife and tell her to play. Like I've never done that. I think she would love it, and it made me. I mean, it just like you guys, like you feel something at the end of that.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Really well. Like it. I think I was going between like a 9 or a 10. I was like, oh, what really constitutes a 10? Like, how perfect does a game have to be? But honestly, just my personal experience. Yeah, like just my personal experience, I could probably nitpick it. But for me, I would rate this a solid 10. I think it was fantastic.
Yeah. So for me, I don't know what your second number, but so mine is I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. And again, for anybody who, for anybody who might be upset, like a 9 is an incredible, especially when you're using a full 10 points. Like that is an incredible score when 5 is average, especially. So, but yes, it was a great game. I thought it was super well done. The music is really good, and honestly, I know they said they were inspired by Journey, and I think this game came out potentially a little bit before. Maybe it was in development around the same time, but I know, Preston, we talked about this before. I felt a lot closer to Ori in this game than I did in Journey.
Sure. Once you get a little bit more of like the actual different types of abilities, that's when I felt more Ori. Yeah. I think Journey was more of in the aesthetic. And you can definitely tell, like, anytime you slide down something and it pans out a little bit, that's them going, I like Journey. I like Journey. Like, we got it. Yeah. You do that quite often, and it looks good every fucking time. But that's pretty much the only part I would say is close to Journey outside of, like, minimalistic stuff. It's aesthetic is all from that Journey idea.
Like,
and they said it,
like,
so.
A lot of the musical cues reminded me a lot of Ori.
Dude, like the water scene reminded me of... Actually reminded me a lot of Donkey Kong's water music. Like the whole like just the way it felt through. Like I was going through, I'm like, man, like I don't know if it's just me, but like I love underwater songs. Like the theme songs for any underwater levels, that kind of stuff. Like I love those songs. Those songs are always my favorite. They're very like moody, very, very chill kind of thing. That it was fantastic. Real quick.
Does it?
I give mine. I definitely give it a 10 out of 10. I give 10 cube heads out of 10 cube heads. I brought this to the table because it's one of my all-time favorite games. It's a game that I can literally say I can give to anyone, and I would recommend to anyone who wants to play a video game. Now, obviously, if they're dealing with grief recently, maybe not exactly just jump to them like, oh, you're dealing with grief and someone you know died here. Play this game. I wouldn't be like that. But it's one of my top games of all time. It's definitely it hits everything it tries to do. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and it's definitely had me emotionally invested even for a second run through. So it's a phenomenal game. I brought it to make up for my Force Unleashed 2. So now we're even.
Well, that's just a high bar because I'm gonna have to figure out something for Beyond Good and Evil. So that's not gonna bode well.
But yeah, I love this game. I would like to ask, did anyone? We were talking about achievements earlier. Did anyone get the "Don't Get Bit by the Eel" achievement? As far as like you missed all of like the nips.
Yeah.
No.
Because
no, I don't think I did.
because you. I mean, it doesn't stop you in gameplay, but like you can get nipped by him or them. But
I must have.
Once you get to the end, it's like don't get whatever the fuck the name is, gobbled by the eel or whatever it said. Yeah, that's one of those achievements I found that popped up. But yeah, it's a great game. And yeah, that's it for Gris.
All right.
Well,
Gris.
Christian, that's over to you then.
Yeah, what's this game?
So, as promised, we are going to continue with the Metro games.
Yeah.
So we are going to be checking out Metro Last Light, the Redux version. So I think that came out in 2014.
Can I just say I'm not actually looking forward to this because I feel like this one's going to somehow be scarier.
I doubt it, but hey, if that's what happens, that's what happens. You got to play it. That's the book club. So, yeah, so this is where my knowledge stops. So I have absolutely no idea about anything about this game. I'm very, very excited because I've always wanted to play through this series, and I had said already that I'm going to use this book club to do that for a bunch of games that I may have missed or something along those lines, or that I know that like you guys have missed or whatever. But
next thing we know for games that we've missed, Christian's going to be like, so this week is part 1 of the Trails series.
No, I would never do that. I would never do that.
Just wait for it.
Yeah,
part 1 of 37.
Yeah, fuck that. It's a lot. But yeah, so I have nothing. I know nothing about this game. I know that it is a lot of people's favorites.
Okay. Out of the series.
So out of the whole series, this one usually is like the top for people.
Is it still a 360 game? Wasn't the first one 360?
Yes, the first one is 360. This one, I believe, is the start of Xbox One and PS4.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Do not quote me on that. I do not know for sure, but I believe that is the case.
We'll find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. What levels are we playing?
Yep, so that's what I was going to say. So we are going to play all the way to the chapter that is called Facility. So intro to Facility. So once you see or know that you are at the chapter called Facility, we will stop there. Okay. This is, I have no idea if that's going to be a good or bad stopping point as far as the story is concerned. I am simply chopping this up by number, and hopefully as we go on, we might have a better idea of what this looks like. I have no fucking idea how long this is going to take, how many parts this is going to be. So
start early, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Just in case it takes longer than you think.
Start early, but that is what I'm going to go with. We'll stop at the Facility, and there you go.
All right.
Which one? Sorry, one more time. Which one is this? This is the 2034,
Last Light.
No, 2034 is the one we just played.
Sorry.
Yeah, it is called Metro Last Light.
No, we played 2033 last.
Yes.
Okay, this is the Last Light. I think I bought the Redo bundle.
I bought the bundle. Yeah, on Xbox. Yeah.
Yep. So this will be So this is going to be the one that's all touched up and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the final one is Metro Exodus.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. So Facility. Sounds good. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And to my knowledge, this only goes for Alex and I, because I know we are the only ones that have Steam Decks. It has a platinum rating on Steam Deck, so if you want to install it on there, because I know you're going to be traveling and all that stuff, it should be Super.
I
Super
bought it
sweet
on
for
Play.
that.
I bought it on Xbox, so that's
I?
what it is. But that is good to know,
Oh.
just in case. That is good to know.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. Well, next time we. Were you just sniffing that Sharpie?
No,
Or
I
were
was
you coloring your
itching my
with it?
beard. This is
Oh,
the-
it looked like it was
but-
open. It looked like
It's also
it
a
was the
pen.
opening of a Sharpie.
it does
I
look like
was
a marker,
What are you
yeah.
doing with that? Okay. Cool. So the next time you have that to look forward to, everybody. I hope you're looking forward to it more than I am. So it'll be good. And if you haven't played Gris, go play it. It was a fantastic game. It's totally worth your investment of like $3 or however much it
Yeah, I
costs.
think
Go
I
play
think now
it.
it's back up to like 14, but also Game Pass right now, so go get it there.
Yeah, there you go. And it's cheap on the App Store too. Go buy it on your phone. I don't care.
Yeah,
So
it's worth it.
Anyway, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Preston, you know what to do as always.
Hit it.
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If watching is more your thing, check out youtube.com/thetestingroom or Twitch TV/testingroompod. To leave comments and ask questions, follow us on Instagram @testingroompod and email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.